Today I'm going to be reading some Christmassy romances because I own a lot of them and I have only read one. Full disclosure, I am filming this having already read two of the books in this video because I've been busy with work and haven't had the opportunity to actually film this intro. I'm not reading as many books as I planned for this video, but I'm still going to talk through all my options because, yeah, I still don't know what the last book I'm going to pick is. So firstly, we've got The Christmas Tree Farm. This is one that I'm definitely reading because if I don't read this year, I can't continue on with the series until I've read this next Christmas. So this was like the top of my list, first book I wanted to read. So I have read this. I'm not gonna talk to you about my thoughts on it, but this is definitely the first one in the vlog. This is the third book in the Dream Harbour series. We've got the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, then we've got this. The Strawberry Pancake House is coming out in like April, I think, and then the Gingerbread Bakery is coming out in September, so that'll be a Christmas read for next year. On a similar front to The Christmas Tree Farm, we also have Love Like Farms by B.K. Borison. Again, this is a book in a series that if I don't read this year, I can't continue the series until next year. Even though this is the first book, so I could just not start the series, but it then means I can't read the series until next year. So this is another one that I wanted to make sure I got to. Okay, let's move on to all the options for my third book that is going to be in this vlog. Hopefully I'll get to the third. I'll start off with Make the Season Bright. This was the November Afterlight book and it's by Ashley Herring Blake. We also have Inner Holidays by Christina Lauren. We also have A Merry Little Meet Cute and A Holly Jolly Ever After by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. This is book 1 and 2 in the series, so I'm probably not going to get to this. There is a third book in this series that came out this year too. Don't know if there's going to be a fourth one next year. So this was a priority just in the fact that obviously the whole series is Christmas books, so I need to get on move on with them, but I'm just not sure if I'm going to get them this year because there are a couple others that I'm a little more excited about, but we'll see. Another option from an author I've read and enjoyed before is Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. I've read Hook, Line and Sinker and really enjoyed that, but then I've heard a lot of mixed things about her other work. A lot of people who used to like her don't like her anymore. Like, a lot of people seem to be of the opinion that she only actually has a few good books and the rest are quite cringy, and so I'm looking forward to getting to more of her books and making that decision for myself. This is another one that is highly anticipated by me. Next is The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. The last of the physical books I have as options is 8 Perfect Hours by Leah Lewis. That is all the options on my physical TBR, but I just want to quickly talk through a couple things on Kindle Unlimited. So first of all, there is the Amazon Shorts collection. I think it's called Under the Mistletoe series, and each book is written by a different author. There's Ali Hazelwood, Olivia Dade, Alexandra Bellefleur, Alexis Daria, and I can't think of the last author, but they're all just little Christmassy romance novellas, and I love Ali Hazelwood, so I thought my original plan was to alternate between one of these and a physical book, but obviously that's not going to happen anymore. I do still think I'm going to try and finish the series, finish the collection in this video. We'll see how that goes. And then finally, even though I should be focusing on books I physically own because I have a ridiculously large physical TBR, one more that I'm really interested in is My December Darling by Lauren Asher, because I love Lauren Asher. I've read the whole Dirty Air series, I've read Dreamland Billionaires. I just need to read Lakefront Billionaires. There's currently only 2 books out of that, and I really enjoy her writing. So when I saw she is doing a Christmas book, I really wanted to get to it, and it is available on Kindle Unlimited, which is the only reason why I've not bought it. Because I'm being good, I'm having restraint. I'm only going to buy it if I enjoy it, or if I don't read it this year, I'll probably buy it to read next year. I do want to be focusing on my physical TBR realistically, but Lauren Asher is one of my favourite authors, so we'll see. Maybe I'll have the time to squeeze in that and another book, depending how long it takes me to finish Love Like Farms. Maybe I will only have the time for a shorter book, and so My December Darling and The Holiday Switch will be my only two options. Who knows? Okay, I haven't filmed my intro yet, but I did start a Christmas tree farm last night because I finished this yesterday in preparation to be able to start this for this video. Obviously I don't really have much to say yet because I am literally just 57 pages in. I am liking the dynamic. We're following Kira, who just moved to Dream Harbour like 3 months ago. She moved in during the previous book and she's just been living her life in Dream Harbour, not really interacting with anyone. But she bought the Christmas tree farm not realising it was a Christmas tree farm. She's a bit of a Grinch, she doesn't like Christmas. The house and land that she bought, it just said that it was a farmhouse with however many acres of land or however many acres of farmland. It didn't specify that it was a Christmas tree farm. It didn't have pictures. She just sort of bought it on a whim. Like, she clearly wouldn't have bought it if she knew it was a Christmas tree farm. The townsfolk are trying to pressure her to reopen because it's something that's special to them, but she doesn't really want to be involved. And then we have Bennett, who is Jeannie from book one's brother. He is currently in Dream Harbour visiting her. I don't know how long he's been there already. I think he's in Dream Harbour for a month. He's still got work to do. He's working remotely, but he is in Dream Harbour to visit Jeannie, and because he isn't part of the town and he isn't all up in everyone's business like the rest of the townsfolk, they sort of send him to check on her. But we've not got to this point yet, but it does say in the synopsis that they are going to get snowed in together, which currently, I'm assuming this is at the Christmas tree farm, and currently she has barely any signal, no Wi-Fi, no working heating. The windows are like damaged, so they let air in. Like, if this is the situation they end up snowed in, that's going to be quite interesting. Obviously with that is forced proximity as well, but yeah, I am looking forward to continuing on with this. I didn't like the second book as much as I liked the first. It got to a point that it was very frustrating, so I hope that doesn't happen with this, because I don't remember being that frustrated about the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I also don't remember anything about the plot because my brain is like a sieve, and like a week after reading a book, the plot does go out of my brain, so maybe I did feel that frustrated and it's going to be just the same in this, but I hope not. I am literally going to leave for work in like 15 minutes. However, a very exciting package has just arrived. This is from a small company called Little Inklings Design. She's based out of Canada, and it's my reading journal for next year. I'm so excited. So I thought I would open it on camera. Make sure I know where my address is so that I don't accidentally dox myself. I have been getting planners from Little Inklings Design for a couple of years now. I love her products, and because it is from Canada, I do only do the one order a year, so I get everything, all the little bits and bobs that I want in one order, so it ends up being quite a big order, especially because shipping from Canada to the UK ain't cheap, but I think it's so worth it. So this is what it looks like. So we've got all my extra bits and bobs on top, and then we've got the planner. So I'll start off, we've got some stickers and some bookmarks in here. So I've got some little ghosty goos. I thought I'd only ordered one of those, but apparently not. I've got a little cowboy yeehaw sticker, a books are better than people. If it doesn't have romance, I don't want it. Don't know if that's actually gonna focus on the text or not. Then I have some bookmarks. Normally I do just get planner accessories, but I loved these designs, so I just had to get them. Oh, I love the quality of these. I love the material. So we've got, like, I think this one is like the summer design. We've got the winter design, the autumn design. I'm pretty sure the spring one must have been sold out because I must have really hated the pattern. So we have In My Romance Era book stack, and it's got like Grumpy Sunshine, Only One Bad, Friends to Lovers, Full Proximity, Slow Burn, Fake Dating, Second Chance, and Enemies to Lovers. And we've got the Rainbow Bookshelf and a cowboy romance sort of design. So it's got this on one side and this on the other. And we have some sticker sheets. So I've got currently reading, some started and finished sheets as well. They're the individual ones I bought. I also bought this year, is the first time she's released these sort of like sticker books. So we have Romance Reader, and it's just like a flip book full of stickers that sort of relate to the theme. I'll only open and flip through one, but like for example in the romance one we've got some general romance themed stickers, and then these that all have sort of different texts on them, things like some more general, like crying over fictional characters happily ever after, reading the day away. Then we've got like romance specifically ones like In My Romance Era, Admit One Spicy Book Club, I Like My Books to Be Spicy, romance books at my happy place, stuff like that. And there's 2 pages of that. And we've got these little love hearts that have different things on, so it's like tropes and stuff. And we've got spice rating. This is like a heart rating. I don't know what I'll use that for because I have star ratings. Then there's a colourful version of the started and finished stickers. Then we have colourful currently reading stickers. And then we have these like book stickers. So in the planner there's like a spread that has squares for number of books, and you can tick that off. So the idea with these is that you stick these on for each number of books. So there's a normal book, an ebook, and audiobook, but these ones all have hearts on to represent that they were romances, not just general. So that's that one. And then I have Reading Through the Seasons and Let's Celebrate, so that's just some more on theme ones. Now we come on to the planner. I'm so excited about this one. Last year I got the Novel Companion Ultra, which was like a more condensed, undated one, but I love the design of this. Prior to last year, I've only ever got the dated planners. I loved this design. I love this design so much. This was only available in the undated. So I did get undated for the first year, but oh my god, I love it! We have a hardcover and it's got different stamps with different genres. It's got romance, mystery, poetry, dystopian, western, classics, non-fiction, historical fiction, sci-fi, contemporary, thriller and fantasy. I love the pink, I love the stamp design. I'm just in love with it. So this is something, this specific design, I don't know if it's currently sold out, but once it sells out she will be restocking because it's the undated version. So this is what I was talking about, where you can track your book. So it's numbered, it fits up to 152, and it's a dashboard layout, and you get 5 of these in each month. Every year I start off so well and keep up to date, and every year I eventually drop off. But this year I've done well with keeping up with my spreadsheet, so I'm hoping that next year is the year of me actually staying up to date with this. I'm very excited to get right into it. I would highly recommend Little Inklings Design products. I'll link the shop down below and her Instagram as well. They're all so cute, they're all so well made. She's a small business, it's literally her and her husband who runs the whole operation. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. I know it's not an update on any of the books that I'm reading for this video, but it's something I've been very excited about. I've been eagerly awaiting this arriving, so I thought I'd share anyway. I am about 3/4 of the way into the Christmas tree farm, and I have some surprising thoughts. So first of all, I am pleasantly surprised in the fact that something that goes on in this I thought was going to be the cause of a 3rd act conflict, and it got brought up about halfway through and did not cause a conflict, which I'm very happy about, because the second it was mentioned I was like, oh, this is gonna... The tumble dryer is being very rude. Anyway, the second it was mentioned I was like, this is gonna come back later when she finds out that this is why he was originally going to the farm. Like, she's gonna get annoyed because she's gonna think that he didn't actually have any interest in her, and that's not the case. He mentions to her that the reason he originally came to the farm is because of the fact that the town thinks that the old owner either buried his wife or money or treasure or something on the grounds. And her only response is like, bro, why didn't you tell me? I could do with money. People think there's money buried here. I could use that. Which I very much appreciated. A surprise that I didn't so much appreciate is the premise of the book. What is mentioned in the blurb, the inciting incident, doesn't happen until roughly 50% through the book. So in the blurb it literally says, fate finds Ben trapped by a blanket of snow at Kira's farm, and despite her grinchiest first impressions, with the glow of the fairy lights twinkling in the trees and the promise of a warming hot chocolate, maybe, just maybe, these two lost souls will have a Christmas they'll remember forever. That suggests that very early on in the book they get snowed in together whilst they're still very much not liking each other. What actually happens, and I don't think this is a spoiler, I think this is a better description of the premise, is 50% into the book they both know they like each other, but they both have their reasons why they don't want to try things. And this snowstorm is coming and he visits her farm in the morning, and instead of leaving actually decides, no, I know you're not used to this kind of weather, I want to make sure you're prepared for the snowstorm. I'm gonna make sure you have a shovel and some salt to dig yourself out in the morning. And then she invites him in for safety. I don't think you should be driving home in this. She invites him in and he agrees, and like, so that they go into it knowing that they're going to sit this storm out together. At that point they both already like each other. They both have already admitted that to themselves. Like, that's a very different concept to what I thought I was reading with this, with two people who actively dislike each other getting stuck together when they didn't want to be in that situation, you know what I mean? And I'm enjoying it. I am. I'm liking the dynamic between the two of them, but it was a bit of false advertising, you know, and I think this series actually could do with better advertising, because, for example, Cinnamon Bun Bookstore sounds like a cozy autumn fall romance, and the majority of that book takes place in the summer. It's maybe the last 25% that is actually during fall. That can throw someone off. Also, I'm appreciating that even though there's little nuggets of things where I'm obviously noticing, oh, this might be a setup for a future book, it's not as blatant and in your face as Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, because in that one it felt like it was just there to set up this, whereas the next book is the Strawberry Pancake House Cafe, the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, and we've been to the Pancake House once at the start of the book. A new waitress who was mentioned. I assume she's going to be the love interest of the next one. I don't know who her love interest is going to be. That's all the level of setup I need. Like, it felt very heavy-handed in the last one, so yeah, I can just enjoy this without spending the whole time going, oh, it's so blatant that they're pushing who the next book is going to be about because they want to make sure you pick up the next book. We don't need to. If people like this book, they will continue on. Okay, I have quite a few updates for you guys. First of all, I finished The Christmas Tree Farm. Was it last night or the night before? I think it was last night. Yes, it was. And I gave this 3.75 stars. I enjoyed this more than the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. It just didn't have the kind of tension I was looking for, having read the synopsis of this book, but I did enjoy the dynamic, and like I said, I did enjoy it more than the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. But yeah, a couple of things. First of all, his nickname for her is Peaches, and every single time I read that, all I could think was the Jack Black Peaches, 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 Peaches. Like, that's all I could think about. And that's a me issue. That is a me issue. But it doesn't change the fact that that was what came to my head. Yeah, I did actually want to correct myself. Previously I said that I think the next book was set up fairly early on in this, but only briefly. I did realise actually the scene I was talking about is from Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, when they go to the Pancake House and they mention a new waitress, but having now read the little like synopsis introduction-y thing that's at the back of this, being like, come back for the next book, having read that, I realised I'm wrong about who the love interest is anyway, so that's completely irrelevant. But yeah, I had fun. I enjoyed the third act conflict. It was a very, very good conflict, I think, like a very valid and important thing to consider. And yeah, I had a fun time. I would recommend the series. Then straight after, I read on my Kindle Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood. It's the first in a little romance series that Amazon has released with 5 different romance authors doing short stories. Funnily enough, this actually also featured a snowstorm that caused 2 people to be snowed in together, and this had what I was looking for in this with that dynamic. They didn't want to be snowed in together. She was very much wanted to leave, but he was like, no, this genuinely is too dangerous, the weather. And then we see their history, what led up to their current situation, and then we just before we find out what it is that caused their current dynamic, we go back to the present day. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Miss Hazelwood, she knows how to get me. I gave it 5 stars. I've not actually said that yet. I gave it 5 stars. I just loved it. I loved. And I don't like a lot of short story romances just because I feel like you can't develop a relationship that well, and this was done well because of the circumstances. There is one thing there is a tiny issue that I had. It's not affecting my rating, obviously. I gave it 5 stars. However, I do not believe the thing that caused their current dynamic, the thing that caused her to think that he is annoyed at her, I just don't believe it happening. And I don't know how else to explain that without spoilering. If you haven't read it yet and you want to and you don't want to be spoiled, like, that's all I can really give you. If you have read it or you don't care about spoilers, I am going to spoil it so that I can just talk about it better. I will do something visually to show when the spoilers are. Something will come on screen. It'll be very obvious if you want to skip past this point, and I'll put a timestamp down below when the spoilers are as well. But I do not believe, with how in love this man is with her, I do not believe that, 1, he would miss a call from her. 2, if he did miss a call from her because, you know, he was doing something important, whatever, that he wouldn't immediately call her back as soon as he saw the missed call. 3, that he wouldn't check voicemails having seen a missed call from her. 4, like, I get some people don't listen to voicemails, I get some people don't check them. Most phones do send you a text now saying that you've got a voicemail, and like if you see you've got a missed call from the woman you're in love with and you see you've got a voicemail, like you would open the voicemail. I just don't believe with how obsessed he is with this woman. He's been in love with her since they were children. I don't believe that he could have not seen, listened to, called her back even if he didn't listen to the voicemail. I don't believe it, but we're ignoring that because I loved it. I rate on vibes, okay? Yeah, that is the end of spoilers, but yeah, like I said, it's not affected my rating because at heart I am a vibes rater, and I was giddy, so oh well. Yeah, I did really enjoy this, and I'm not looking forward to the rest of the series because some friends have read it, specifically the Tessa Bailey. The one Tessa Bailey I've read, I loved, but a lot of friends who have read it, I'm scared. But I'm still going to read the whole series because 1, I need to hit my reading goal for the year, and 2, they're short, they're quick, they're fun. Why not? My last update for you. This is such a long clip. I've just not been filming updates. I started Love Like Florms today at work. I'm only 30 pages in, so I don't really have much to say. I kind of went into this blind because I knew I wanted to read it, so all I really know is that it's another Christmas tree farm romance. So far, from what I can tell, we follow, what even is her name? Stella. So Stella has been in love with her friend Luca for a hot minute, but she is scared of changing that dynamic, and she owns a Christmas tree farm, but it's not doing too great, and she applies for this like small business situation, promotion situation with a very popular influencer. The winner receives 100 grand but also gets the exposure of being featured on this influencer's accounts. And when she applied to make the farm sound more romantic, she said that she owned the farm with her boyfriend, which she is single. So she needs a fake boyfriend for when this influencer comes to visit, and she does ask one of the other guys who works at the farm, who I was kind of hoping that he would be the love interest because I already like his vibes. I'm hoping that he's a love interest in another book. But he is like, babes, no, we all know who you want to pretend to be in a relationship with. You know, we all know you're fawning after Luca. Just ask him, you know he'll do it. And she like has been tiptoeing around doing that because she doesn't want him to say no. She's scared of him saying no. She's scared of ruining the relationship. But where I've got up to, she has finally given in and asked him to be her fake boyfriend, and he is basically like, if you think it will help the farm, sure. But he also doesn't know how bad of a situation the farm is in, so I'm sure that will come up and he'll be annoyed. I've not really got far enough in yet to figure out whether I like the dynamics or where I think it's going to go, etc, etc. But so far it seems fun. I'm not really gonna say much more, and I don't really have much more to say. This clip is probably quite long because I've just given you 3 updates, so I'm gonna stop talking. I'm filming on my phone because I didn't think I was gonna be able to do an update, but it was surprisingly easy to park for work today, so here we are. I thought I'd give you an update because I'm roughly halfway through Love Light Farms and I'm enjoying it so far. I'm not quite feeling the like giggling, kicking your feet energy that I sometimes do with a romance that I really love, but I'm not disliking it. I am enjoying it. And it's a different take on a fake dating story. So like, it's very obvious from the beginning that they both like each other. Like, she openly admits it, but it's very obvious to at least the reader and everyone else around her that he also likes her. And so I was a bit nervous about this fake dating situation because I was like, this is gonna feel so forced that they're not just saying anything because it's so obvious. But like, they've not even had to officially start fake dating yet. Like, the influencer isn't in town and they've already admitted, like, not fully admitted their feelings, but they've both sort of said, okay, how about instead of taking this week as a week of fake dating, we'll take it as like a trial run, and like, we don't have to leave it at the door. Like, we can act like a couple behind closed doors as well when we're alone and see how it is. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We promise not to let it affect anything. We promise to stay friends. So I'm interested how that will play into the fake dating, because I feel like there will still be the energy of like, is this actually him or is this him playing it up for the fake dating aspect of it? Because that is still a thing. They're still having to make their relationship seem more than it is to the influencer. But it's a different take on what I've seen most fake dating romances, so that's interesting. I'm excited to see how that plays out. It does concern me about what could possibly be the third act conflict or breakup. I assume that at some point people are going to find out that they were faking and think that everything was fake, and that's going to cause issues between them and other people. But with like them essentially admitting their feelings so early on, like we're not even halfway through and they're like, okay, we're both interested in seeing where things can go. It does concern me because I feel like it makes me feel like there's got to be a conflict that actually affects the relationship and not just something that means they have to take a pause, but they both are aware that they aren't leaving each other. It concerns me. You know, they're making these promises of no matter what, we'll still be best friends, and I feel like that is a sign that something's going to happen that leads them to be not talking to each other. I'm scared. I am enjoying it. I'm just not having those super excited feelings that I get with like my favorite romances, but it's still a good romance. I finished Love Light Farms last night and I am giving this a 3.5 stars. It was fun, I enjoyed it, but I wasn't getting that sort of giggling, kicking my feet feeling like I mentioned before. First of all, the whole premise of this is that they're fake dating because of this influencer arriving, and she doesn't arrive until like 2/3 of the way into the book. There's literally like 100 pages left when she arrives. So I kind of felt the same way I felt about the Christmas tree farm, in that what is mentioned in the synopsis happens so late on. It feels like false advertising a bit. Also, I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the last clip, like, it's pretty obvious that they're both interested in each other, that they both want to be together. They're basically just acting like a couple before the influencer even arrives and within the privacy of their own home when they don't have to. Like, they've literally said to each other, we'll use this as a trial run and see where things go. And she is constantly saying, like, I don't know how I'm going to go back to normal after this. I don't know how I'm going to handle it when this is over. And I'm like, this is so clear that you are both into each other. It's so clear you both want to be together. And it's even more frustrating because it's just her POV. So, like, it'd be different if it was dual POV. It'd be like, okay, maybe it's only clear because we're also in his head and we're also seeing exactly how he's feeling. But no, every bit of information we're getting is from her POV. So she is seeing him do these things and it reads only in one way. And yet she's still going, when this is over, when I have to give this up. It's just even more frustrating than, like, that sort of plotline is frustrating in general in romances when it's so obvious that they like each other, and the fake dating situation in particular, or marriage of convenience or whatever, and the person is going, when this ends. But it's even more frustrating in this. And then when it comes to, like, him telling her he loves her and he's literally like, I'm in love with you, and she's like, no you're not, you just think you're in love with me because we're fake dating. And he's like, why do you think I agreed to this in the first place? And she's just like, no, you're not in love with me. I'm just like, this is worse than miscommunication, because he is literally saying, as clear as day, that he loves her. And she's like, no, not true. You couldn't possibly love me. And then, like, 5 seconds later, she's like, oh shit, he does. I fucked up. I do appreciate how that realisation came about, though, and how that sort of played out. I don't want to say too much in terms of spoilers, but yeah. Similarly with how it came out to the influencer that they were faking it, I really appreciate that too. Just how that whole plot line did end up playing out, I did really enjoy, so I'll say that. Like, cause it does sound like I'm just shitting on this whole book, and I'm not. I had a fun time. I do want to continue the series. Like I said, I gave it 3.5 stars. That's a decent rating. It just means it wasn't anything special. I also really appreciated that even though she was in the wrong in the sort of conflict that happens, she was definitely in the wrong. But I appreciate that he turns around and is like, I know that you have particular issues with this, and so I shouldn't have acted in this way even though I was upset. But also, on the other hand, she is like, no, you had every right to be upset. I'm the one that fucked up. I should have listened to you. You should not be apologising right now. So in that sense, both sides of it, very, very healthy. I did want to mention as well, there is one line where I think it's after they've just had sex, and he's like, you've killed me, I'm dead. And she says, you'll be my favourite ghost of Christmas past then. And I just found that really funny because B.K. Borison has recently announced that they're coming out with a Christmas romance next year called Good Spirits, I think, and it's about the ghost of Christmas past. So I just found that really funny. I don't know if this bonus chapter in here is exclusive to the Afterlight edition or whether it's just in all the editions, but I really did not appreciate it because it's just a sex scene from his perspective. Like, a sex scene that we didn't get before. Like, it's just mentioned what they did, but it's just a sex scene from his perspective. We've had this whole book in her perspective. Having a bonus chapter in his perspective, it would be really nice to have, I don't know, when they first met, or when she asked him to be her fake boyfriend, or, you know, just something that shows how much he cares for her, how much he loves her, how much he does for her, something like that, not just a sex scene. And I don't dislike smutting books, but it felt like a waste of a bonus chapter. And then last night I also read the next in the Under the Mistletoe series, which is the one by Tessa Bailey, which is Merry Ever After. Now, this is the one that I've heard is very cringy and just awful, to be honest, and people went wrong. I gave this a 1.5 stars. I was laughing, like genuinely out loud laughing at multiple points of this. This is 59 pages and he mentions how large he is 11 times. She mentions how large he is 8 times, and that's ignoring the things that are just genuine, like, part of conversation. Like, at one point he says, like, I don't think there'll be a pair of jeans that fit me here in the shop. Like, I didn't count that because that could just be a normal thing, but like just the amount of times that they're obnoxiously like, oh my god, he's so large, oh my god, I'm so large, that's what I counted. Which doesn't sound like a lot of times, but when you remember this book is 59 pages long, that's like pretty much roughly 1 every 3 pages. So yeah, I don't really have any positives about this. It could have been a great setup for an actual full novel. I do think that, like, tweak it a bit, extend the time period. It could have been an enjoyable full novel, but I am just gonna have a little rant about this. So first of all, she works in a thrift shop, and he's always coming in looking for jeans, but they just don't fit because he's so large. Anyway, they've never really spoken before, I don't think, but she offers to make him his own pair of pants. He's like, no, that's too much fuss. She's like, you're one of a kind. And he's like, no, you're one of a kind. Then her baby cries in the back because she's a single mother. Her baby cries in the back, and his reaction, like, she thinks that he is writing her off because she's a single mother. We come to find out that he thinks she's married. This is 2024. This book was written this year. There are so many reasons someone can be a single parent. Like, why are you just automatically assuming that she's married? Like, that's a great segue into figuring out whether she's single, because you're like, oh, that's yours. You have to bring your baby to work. Like, can your partner not look after them whilst you're at work? Easy way to figure out if she's single, but no, he just assumes that she's married. So she's like, fuck you, because she thinks that he doesn't have any interest in her knowing that she's a single mother, and makes the jeans anyway to prove that women can do anything they want. And she shows up at his house with this pair of jeans, and she's carrying her baby because obviously she's a single mother. She can't really afford childcare, so she's carrying her baby, and he lets her in. Like, he finds out pretty much straight away that she is a single mother. Like, he notices that her back's hurting, so she's like, oh, do you want to put your son down on my bed for a bit? And she's like, yeah, sure. She goes and puts this child is 5 months old. She goes and puts this child on his bed in a different room, and then comes back to the living room / kitchen. I think it's open plan. I don't know. Comes back to the living room and just, is having conversation. And I'm like, this is not your house, so that bed is definitely not designed to have a baby on it. It's definitely not got like baby gates or something on it. Babies roll. Like, maybe this is the fact that I'm the daughter of a midwife turned health visitor showing, but babies roll a lot and very easily. Like, you never leave a child on something that they could roll off of unattended without watching them, because they could roll off it. That this house is not baby proof, this is not her house. And she's just like, she's not got a baby monitor in there. Like, this bed is not designed to have a baby on it. It's just a normal bed. It could roll off. Anyway, they proceed to be about to have sex. Like, they're getting there, and then the baby starts crying, and then she's like, oh yeah, I have responsibilities. I have a child. I need to. But again, like, she's getting so caught up in this encounter. She's not even thinking about watching that child that's on a bed that it could roll off of. And all I could think about, like, as they're kissing and whatever, was that baby is in a different room on something that it could roll off of whilst you're doing this. Like, that's all I could think about. And then literally like 1 or 2 days later, he shows up at her house with a bike as like a present because she wouldn't accept cash for the jeans. He shows up, and like instantly she lets him in, lets him hold her baby. This is like the 3rd proper interaction she's had with him. Lets him hold her baby while she's cooking tea, lets him hold her baby whilst they're eating tea, lets him put her baby to sleep, to bed, and then like immediately after they come out from putting the baby to sleep, like they immediately have sex. Immediately. And he's all like, they don't make jeans big enough for me, and they don't make women big enough for me either. Ugh! But she's like, off it. And they have sex. And at the start of this whole thing, she is like, I'm not interested in men. At most I want a casual relationship, but I'm not even looking for that. I don't have time for dating. I don't trust men after my ex-husband, well, I don't know if they were husband, after my, no, they weren't married, after my child's father, and also the fact that my dad left. I don't trust men. It's been, at this point, like 3 days, 4 days. And she's like, I'm your woman. I want to be with you forever. And he, like, they leave that situation with him being like, I need to leave you to make the next move. I need to let you come to me now because I have done all the, you know, I've been the one pushing this forward. And a week goes by and they don't talk to each other and he's like panicking. And then she comes riding her little bike up to his house, and her like grand gesture of, I've decided to be with you, I've decided I want to be together, is that she's made like a baby sling for him. And he immediately takes it, picks her child up out of this bike and carries her child. And like at this point you've known this man for a week and a half. 2 weeks tops. Like, yes, he's been coming into your shop, but you've not had a conversation with him. You learn his name on that day that we saw as the reader. Like, you've known this man for 2 weeks tops, and you're letting him carry your child. You're making him a sling because you're like, I know that immediately you're going to be carrying my child a lot. Like, it takes more time than that to trust another person with your child. What? No, like, you've known each other for 2 weeks. You've had 3 interactions and you're basically being like, wanna be my child's dad? No. And then also this whole thing felt like, and this is no shade, no tea to Tessa Bailey. I really enjoyed It Happened One Summer. This whole thing felt like a first draft where you've written like the general gist of what you want to happen, but you're like, I'll pad it out later, I'll fix the wording later so it sounds better. But you never did. Like, that's what it read like to me. And Tessa Bailey's a decent writer. Like I say, I gave It Happened One Summer 5 stars. And I know that this novella has particularly like not gone down well, so I'm not gonna write her off for other stuff, but I have a lot of her other books and I've heard that It Happened One Summer is like her best, and it does scare me, having read this now, that maybe I'm not gonna enjoy the rest of her books. I'm not gonna start a new whole novel because just of when I want to get this video up, but I am gonna finish the Under the Mistletoe novellas. So I will just pop in when I finish the next one because they're not long enough to do like partway check-ins. I have finished the last 3 of the Under the Mistletoe novellas. I just haven't updated you guys, so I'm going to update you on all 3 in this one clip. So the first one is All by My Elf by Olivia Dade. This one I gave 1.5 stars. It was fine, but there was nothing special about it, and this is the same rating that I gave Merry Ever After, but like, even though it was better story-wise and writing-wise, at least Merry Ever After, you know, I was having some laughs, it was a bit of fun, whereas this was just okay, I guess. At the start of it, our main character thinks that her crush and her best friend are together, and it's so obvious that everything that she is taking as a sign that they're together is actually just a sign that he is asking her for help on how to get with our main character. Also, obviously this is such a petty criticism, but she refers to mince pies as mince meat pies, and I don't know if mince pies just aren't a thing as much in America, but it just really threw me off. And like, in the book it did mention like in England they make mince meat pies or something along like those lines, which makes me think it's because they're not a thing in America, but it just really threw me off, like calling them mince meat pies and not just mince pies. Like I say, that is such a petty criticism, and if you're not English or like don't know what a mince pie is, that probably wouldn't bother you, but it was just a tiny little thing. Like, there was nothing egregiously wrong with it, but it felt wrong giving it higher than a 1.5. Next was Merriment and Mayhem by Alexandria Belfleur. This one I gave 2.5 stars. I actually quite enjoyed it. It's just a case of me not gelling amazingly with most romance novellas just because they move too fast most of the time. I was actually quite surprised when I rated Cruel Winter with You 5 stars because most of the time I just don't enjoy romance novellas. But this one was a fun one. I feel like it could have been padded out to like a short romance book. We definitely could have got a bit of a storyline there, like it had something to it. I like having a firefighter as a love interest, and the things that ensued with that, with her getting herself into multiple different sort of situations where the fire service keep on getting called out to her. I thought it was fun and it created a fun dynamic between the two main characters. But again, like just because it moved so fast and like the way they're talking about each other moves so fast, and I'm not even talking about like within the book itself, but within the timeline. Like I feel like to get around the inherent time issues with a novella, you either have to sort of not have them get to the point of confessing their love to each other and moving in together or becoming a full-on normal relationship. You can just have a novella end with, okay, and now we're going to start dating and see where things go. Or you have to have big time jumps and have your novella cover a large amount of time and just be like, okay, we've been dating for the past however many weeks, just going on dates, seeing how things have gone. Because otherwise it just, no matter how much you're accepting the fact that it's a novella, so things are going to move fast, like I'm just sat there thinking, this has happened all across the space of a week and it just doesn't feel right. For example, in this one, they've had their flirtations, whatever, they go on their first date, but they're not she's not admitting it's a date, and an emergency situation happens and she ends up actually jumping into the water to try and help save people. And afterwards he's like, I care so much about you, I could have lost you. And she sort of says to herself, oh my god, I nearly died. I could have lost him and never have told him how I feel. I'm like, you flirted a couple times over the space of maybe a week. I get a near death situation sort of making you reevaluate your priorities, and maybe in that situation making you think, oh yeah, I am interested in this guy and I need to just go for it. But it felt more like, oh my god, I nearly died and I hadn't told the man I'm in love with that I'm in love with him. It gave that energy. The story was enjoyable and I did have a fun time reading it. I love a firefighter TV show, so it was definitely sort of within my wheelhouse of what I enjoy. Finally, we have Only Santa's in the Building by Alexis Daria. I gave this one 3 stars. It definitely followed a bit more of the time frame of what I was just explaining. The whole story takes place across the space of a day, apart from a couple flashbacks, and then the epilogue takes place, I think, a week later. And the flashbacks just sort of show they have shown interest in each other across the past couple of months that they've both been living in the same building. And what happens in the space of a day is very plausible and realistic. There's a building Christmas party and 2 of their neighbours know about the fact that they're interested in each other and try and push them towards each other a bit. They just take the opportunity to sort of give it a go and admit that they're interested in each other. They go back to his place and after they've had sex, he is like, I really like you, I'm interested in sort of seeing where this goes, like pretty much that kind of thing. The only part that then becomes, I feel like this has moved too fast, is that they both meet each other's families like straight away for Christmas when they've literally only just sort of started dating. But also that is literally the epilogue chapter, a couple pages. The majority of the story, it does move at a normal pace and it was just very cute. He was just so sweet. Like, he made little handmade decorations for her Christmas tree because he knew that she didn't have any decorations. So yeah, that leaves my final ranking for this sort of collection being Cruel Winter with You, then Only Santa's in the Building, then Merriment and Mayhem, then All by Myself, and last and definitely least, Merry Ever After. Yeah, I had a fun time, I guess, with this series. I'm glad I read it for the couple that I did enjoy. I could have gone without reading All by Myself and Merry Ever After, but it is what it is. And yeah, I'm a bit upset that I didn't manage to get through as many books as I was hoping to in this Christmas period. Like today is the 27th and I did want to get one or two more sort of Christmas like books in, but I'm already sort of getting out of the Christmas spirit. Like I know that if I start another one it'll take me a couple of days. Like the next book that I read, it's possible will move over into the new year and I don't want to be reading a Christmas book in the new year. So I'm just gonna move on now. So I'm already telling myself like next year I definitely need to be reading more Christmas books, but that is a whole year away, so I don't need to be thinking about that right now. If you got this far into the video, leave the Santa emoji, and if you are interested in following me on Instagram, I do have a bookstagram that is always linked down below along with all my other socials, Goodreads, Storygraph, etc. If you liked this video, it would be much appreciated if you give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more from me, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye!